Hello, agus fàilte go trí seascad den prògram ag BBC Alba hadal go críosil spórs na ban in Alba. Is me Iona Ballantyne agus mi tilleadh a bhfuil Oifigear Leasachaidh Comunn Ball-Coise na h-Alba sam Milne a-mach sin stiùidio. Ar prògram na h-Alba, Gheibh sin a-mach fós sam muna leasachin is ùire an na Ball-Coise na ban in Alba ag na trá írin. Cluinnidh sin bhfuil cluicheadair Boroughmuir Thistle Shannon Todd a théir a bhí tilleadh na pàirce a sé bhí a-mach son feisc bliana. Agus Gheibh sin barach fisachaí me cén skippe an ceanna Deas Ghlaschu the Camp Hellcats ag aisteach bhchan bliana. Sam, welcome back to 360.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been 7 months since we last had you on the programme. I know a lot has happened in that time. Can you just bring us up to date on what has been going on with you?
Absolutely. We are still growing the game, the women's football game, the girls and women's game. Participation is higher than it's ever been. So we've been continuing to try and develop those programmes as well. We've recently launched our new KDM soccer centres in line with our national team players to promote recreational opportunities for 5 to 12-year-old girls to play the game. We are preparing to go into the next phase of our Cashback for Communities programme as well, for trying to develop more players in the game there, and yeah, just continuing to support clubs to keep creating opportunities for girls to play the game as well.
That is amazing. There is so much going on, and actually every time that we have you here there's always something different that you're working on, and it's really quite amazing to see, because the things that you've told us about in the past are now up and running and doing really well. For example, the last time you were on, you were looking at starting up the festivals, the seven-a-side festivals. Can you just tell us what has happened in the past 7 months, because it's really quite incredible?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the women's game, we've been trying to develop these recreational football opportunities for girls, sort of 16 plus. We found that there was lots of centres that wanted to play them, so we tried to do some festivals just to see would girls and women want to come and play in those. And yeah, we've been running these festivals monthly in the East region. Every time within 20 minutes of it going live, they've been booked out, which is great. We're trying to find new ways of trying to meet the demand on that. And yeah, we have over 120 women playing in seven-a-side festivals every month now.
That is amazing, and it's usually 12 teams, is that correct, that take part in the day? But you have more than 12 teams always get in contact to try and get their place, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. The good thing is we're coming out the winter months, so facilities has been quite a challenge, so that's why we're restricted to 12. We were finding that a Friday night was suiting the groups that we were looking to bring along. For various reasons that Friday night seems to work. So yeah, we were only able to take 12 at each event, but as we move into sort of spring and summer and we have more access to more facilities, then absolutely we'll be able to cater for a lot more than that who are knocking at the door to want to come to them.
And what has the feedback been from those taking part? Oh,
it's been great. I think you know, down to individuals are saying, I feel alive, you know, I've not played football forever, and probably the big thing that we do with our festivals is we keep it as a festival. It's not a tournament. We don't keep scores at all. The rules are very relaxed. You know, chest passes when we're throwing it in. There's not many rules in there at all. And the feedback is that they enjoy that sort of relaxed environment with an element of some competition in there. But it takes away that pressure of needing to be really good because the scores are not important.
And we actually had a team on the programme last week, Flip the Mindset, who had taken part in your festivals and are now in the competitive leagues.
Absolutely, yeah. They came up to one of the Christmas festivals that we did, like I say, Friday night up in Dundee, so a bit of a commitment for them to come up there. So yeah, they came along, played, they did fab, and yeah, now they're away playing in the leagues now, which is fantastic to see, and they're doing well as well.
That is brilliant. So it shows that so much can actually come from what you put on too, Sam. Yeah. It's really amazing.
Stepping stone. We keep calling it a stepping stone.
That is great. Are there plans to extend it across Scotland?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's growing like wildfire just now. I know that up north there's sessions up as far as Nairn. In Glasgow now we're seeing quite a lot of new groups getting created as well. New tournaments and festivals getting created as well, and I feel every time I log on to Twitter somebody else has created it, so, and it's all down to these clubs that just keep taking these steps forward and creating these opportunities for more women to play.
That is brilliant, and that's the thing that kind of ties in nicely with the numbers of women playing football, girls and women playing football in Scotland? Because can you tell us about the growth in that recently too?
Yeah, so at the end of this year, we've had our highest ever number of registered female players, which is fantastic. So it was 21,000, which, you know, even just a couple of months before that, we weren't sure what the numbers were sitting there. So, and that's only the registered players. That's the ones that have registered to SWF or registered in their participation programmes. That maybe doesn't include those that are just playing in the park or playing in, you know, some of the centres and stuff as well. So definitely feel there's more women out there and girls out there playing the game. But as of just now, yeah, 21,000, which is 13% of the playing population, which is great. It's a great number to see.
Can you put that into perspective of what it was sitting at when you started this job?
Yeah, so I started this job 16 years ago this year, and yeah, when we were looking at the numbers, it was very minimal, and I don't think we actually fully understood, but never any place near 21,000. But I remember doing a bit of a stat with Andy Gould at the time, who's our head of football department now, and it was sitting about 0.3% of the playing population was female, and we were really excited when it got above 1% of the playing population. So to have it sitting at 13% at the end of last year and 21,000 players now playing the game, it's fantastic.
That's amazing. Are you happy with how grassroots football is in Scotland then? You must be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there, as always, there's room for improvement. There's a lot of challenges, certainly coming out of COVID with facilities, cost of living, trying to encourage people to play, reducing the costs for people to play the game. We do have challenges in there, but it's but clubs just keep, and volunteers keep knocking it out of the park and just keep creating these opportunities in the local communities, and it's fantastic that there's now a widened player offering for anybody to play the game.
I was going to ask, how do you break down those challenges? But is it, like you say, volunteers and the clubs that are really putting themselves forward to help?
Absolutely. Our game wouldn't survive without volunteers. They are the lifeblood of our game, and they understand their communities. They know how to support people in their communities, and these volunteers go so above and beyond to break down these barriers, whether it's reducing costs, finding more sponsorship, working with the local authorities to reduce costs and things. And yeah, without them, no girl or woman would be able to get the chance to play the game.
And that's the thing, you always have to keep pushing it on, because you see just how much it means to the communities and to the people taking part too, don't you?
Absolutely. I'll always stand by it. Football changes lives, it saves lives, and we really believe in the power of football and what that can do for a community as well. The key is to create this widened player offering that is not the traditional form of the game always. There's a place for that, absolutely, and we need to keep developing that, but we also need to create all these other opportunities to play the game as well, and we only can do that by understanding our communities. Oh,
Sam, it's great to hear what you've been up to. I can't wait to have you back on in 7 months and see what's going on then. Yeah. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Chur-seachad Shannon Todd droch gáisteach sa bhar sin ùire go cuiridh a-mach as son feasc bliana. Bhrainn sin ùire Shannon with dìreach chuca seo agus go tilleadh sa haidh I bhí rais a pàirce sé aine go fàilte.
Hoshi cluicheadair Boroughmuir Thistle Shannon Todd, a cluiche at Club Valley in Adult, Mr. Heineke Coon and the Hutchison Vale.
It started when I was around the age of 9. I joined the Royal High Primary School boys team. Me and my best friend Paige, we joined the boys team as the only 2 girls in the squad. So every Saturday morning, put our boots on and we had to walk down to Northfield Park, kick off at 9 o'clock in the morning, rain, snow, whatever the weather. So it was probably from there that I'd say I decided that I had a real love for the game. The World Cup was on, that was probably massive for me, following the big players. Going back, that's probably when Ronaldo started to get his recognition, and Messi, and now if you look at them now, they've been not bad role models to grow up following. So I wasn't really sure if it was an option. Women's football, as you can imagine, wasn't as big as it is now back then, and Hutchison Vale had come in and I started training with them. I think around the age of 10, I then pursued that and started competing with them at the age of under 13s and right through to under 17s. So I was awarded with a 5-year serviceship of Hutchison Vale. I spent about 6 years with the club.
Hosin Shannon glúas go Hibernian, agus a cainighin sorite eike leis an tú den éitin, for in de bhuanighi an dúbeltje an da Leasachaidh Comunn.
I think I'd maybe had made some comments about it being a dream to play for Hibs as growing up as a fan, and I think I signed for Hibs at the age of 16 and joined their under-17 squad. Probably my fondest memory for Hibs was my first goal, and coincidentally that came against Hearts in a 2-1 win at Meggetland at 17s, so that was pretty special. It was such a talented, young, great bunch of girls. I think we almost completed the season undefeated. I'm pretty sure it came down to a game against Hearts where we won the league, and then the League Cup was a 5-1 win, so that was pretty special as well.
A strai cuideachd le ardachd páirce Thistle an Deas Ghlaschu Glua Shannon go Spartans, far a bhelí faraching gan danig an cluicheadair go mór.
That was a great achievement. Again, my time at Partick Thistle, that was pretty special. The players I met along the way, friends for life. It was a great club to be a part of. Wasn't a pretty big outfit at the time, and it's really progressed now, which is lovely to see from being there from the start. Yeah, I loved my time at Spartans. It's probably a team that I'll always keep close to me. Love everything that it stands for. The people are amazing, and it's a really good setup, and you are treated really well throughout your time there. I started off at Spartans, obviously, in the Development League. I think I spent 2 seasons, maybe more there, before Debbie moved me up to the Prem team, and that's where I feel my football really progressed. I felt that the standard I'm at now in playing in the Premier League 2 came from my time at Spartans and being under the coaches there.
In Nishik Boroughmuir Thistle ha Shannon Todd a bhí ráisiad a fitch, a séir a bhí a ghorsteach sa bhairt an nuí, a a-mach airson chomhór dìreach mías.
I feel it was possibly always on the cards. Susie had contacted me a few months beforehand and asked if I'd be interested in a chat. However, it wasn't a decision that I made then and there, and then I reached out to her a couple of months later, and here we are. To have played for such a long time, it's probably one of the few serious injuries I've ever sustained. It was really just a coming together with the keeper in the box, nothing malicious, but obviously I've come off worse at the time. Initially I thought I'd broke my leg, and the x-ray came back clear, so after an MRI scan and a few appointments with orthopaedics, they confirmed that I'd need surgery, and I had that about 6 to 8 weeks later. When I got my MRI results, probably the first question asked the orthopaedic surgeon was, when would I be back on the pitch? That was really the only thing that was in my head. Not walking, not working, when was I back on the pitch? And he said January. So I've pretty much hit my benchmark. I would have liked to be on the pitch in Christmas time. However, I'm pretty glad that I made the January benchmark. Yeah, it was pretty tough. I was in a leg brace for 6 months straight, 24/7. I was only allowed to take it off when showering. So walking about, working, training and getting back to full fitness was all in my leg brace. It was draining mentally, but my goal was always to get back on the pitch, and that kept me going. I think every week I was counting down in my diary whether it was how many weeks I'd been injured or how many weeks to go. Oh, I was absolutely delighted. I had done private physio, so I'd worked really hard. It was tiring, it was sore, but the relief to have just got on the pitch at Meadowbank in January was just no words. But I done it.
Ha Shannon na gamas a fallaineach sa dhéime a Leasachaidh. Aias a cuideachd Boroughmuir Thistle suas a mord. Hai moitil as na chola níos an riach cluicheadair, aias bhrosna hí a thulan níon gus gréimein in a corman na h-Alba Ball-Coise tavein.
It's been a frustrating one. However, we've shown great character. We've beaten the top 2 in the league, and it's just been frustrating that we've dropped points to teams below us in the table. But you know, we can only build on that, and we're very keen to rectify that in the next coming months and get points and get some goals in the team. Yeah, absolutely. My goal is to be playing consistently and hopefully scoring every week. So yeah, obviously I want to keep playing at a high level, ideally Premier League, and if I can get back to Premier League 1 then that would be perfect. So I just have to have a really good push at it, get back to full fitness and see where it goes. Looking back at it now, it is something that I'm really proud of, and it is something that I can only hope can get better. So I'll see what the next few years bring, but yeah, another chapter starting. I'd say that it's come on so much since I was a little girl. I think that if you're the parent or you are that little girl and football's your dream or an interest, go for it, because the opportunities are massive and you'll never know if you don't try.
Sam, what a great story. How good is it to see Shannon back playing?
It's fantastic. I think I'm not sure exactly what her injury was, but it doesn't look like it was a small injury. So to see her just be so determined to get back on the pitch is really inspiring. And it's great to see that she's back and she's back playing. And
we could see it was an injury to do with her knee. You have been there yourself. It was your ACL, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How difficult is it during that time? I mean, it's almost a year out for both of you.
Yeah, you know, I was I think a little bit older than Shannon. I was 28 when I did my ACL, and absolutely could appreciate what Shannon's saying there around mentally how tough it was. And I was told I wouldn't play again, so I just accepted that. What's really nice to see is that Shannon knows that she could get back on the pitch, and clearly Boroughmuir have supported her to get back on there as well, and it's fab to see her back playing. But absolutely mentally it's probably one of the hardest things, and the big thing for me, and we could see Shannon in the gym and things there, was losing your changing room. You weren't part of the group as much anymore, which was quite hard as well. So, but she's done great to come back.
She has, and that's the thing, even probably that mental strength, what she was thinking about was getting back on the pitch, and that obviously really spurred her on to get through it. And you can even still see her training there with her knee strapped up. Yeah. But knowing that it was sport and it was football that got her back there.
Yeah. And that's credit to Susie and the group as well, that have created that environment that she really desperately wants to go back to that. And to have that strength to go to the gym on her own and have that discipline, knowing you know that you're going to get there at some point, and it's a long time. It's not a couple of weeks. You know it's going to take a long time to get back, and she's clearly had that determination to do that, however lonely that might have been for her as well.
And still has that determination to even climb up the ranks again, which
Absolutely.
is great to see. Even if we take it back to Shannon when she was younger, she was inspired to play football by watching the World Cup when she was a kid, seeing Ronaldo and Messi. How times have changed, because now young girls can have female role models in the sport.
Absolutely, and I think that's key, and there's obviously a couple of high profile knee injuries out there in the football world as well just now, and it's actually really good that they've got somebody to look up to and see how do they deal with these injuries. And you know ones like Rachel Corse's, she did her knee at the same time as me, and she was one I was able to look at and think, how is she managing this to get all the way back? But it does allow you to start to look at those sort of female role models as well. Shannon's a role model now for someone, and getting her story out there is really important as well. But on top of that, I think she's talked about Spartans, and she's obviously at Boroughmuir. She's got two fantastic female role models there as well, and the coaches with Susie and Debbie there as well. So times have changed, that we no longer have to think about who's my favourite male player, who's my role model, and it's not wrong to have that, but it's fantastic. There's so many female role models. There's so many options out there now, and so many different stories that people can reflect on and understand as well.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's great to see, and obviously great to see Shannon back in action, and it'll be exciting to see what happens next. Let's even take it back to you, because recently for International Women's Day you were involved in a feature with the Scottish FA, which it was a beautiful video talking about your career and everything that you've done for women's football. So many people got in touch with you after that, didn't they, about wanting to get involved themselves? Yeah,
it was great, and the Kenny Miller and the guys that took the video, it's been everything, you know, for the game that we've been really looking forward to getting. I bang on about women's recreational, but until you can actually visualise that, it's quite hard. So the guys done really well to bring it together. Yes, it's went quite far and wide, which is fantastic, and we've had so many women now saying, oh, I actually think I would like to do that. On top of that, off the back of the video as well, we did get quite a lot of women saying, I really want to do it. I don't quite think I'm old enough, because there's a stigma around the walking football, but I'm quite scared of doing a tackle, so we're now starting a non-contact football. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but we're trying it on Sunday, and we've already got 20 women signed up to that off the back of this as well. So we're trying incredible. That. We're going to try this new thing and see if it works. We're using the same rules as walking football, you know, 3 touches, non-contact, try and not tackle, and just see how many more women can play.
But that's you. People have got in touch, you spotted an opportunity and you've taken it, and now, like you say, there are 20 people coming to start a brand new type of the game on Sunday. That's amazing.
I think that the big thing for me is we find a barrier. How do we break it down and get more people? And the barrier was people were nervous about tackling, and so we removed that. Let's go and try something new. So we don't know how it'll go, but here, let's give it a bash and see how it works. So.
And another kind of video that was in the same sort of style as yours was Farah, who you know. Can you just tell us a bit about her and her story?
Farah's amazing. Farah started playing football with us 2 years ago when we first started in the programme in our town. She's lost 6 stone. She's in remission with her diabetes. Our husband has started a men's recreational programme. He's lost a stone. Our son, she's got three children, one severely autistic. Our other son's on the spectrum. He's now playing and he wants to be like his mum. And it's just fantastic. And again, so many people were so inspired by Farah's story.
That is incredible, because Farah's in her 40s, isn't she?
Yep.
So to be in your 40s, to have a condition like diabetes and reverse it from sport, from football, is life-changing.
Absolutely.
And it just shows again the power of sport and what it can do. There's so much more to it.
Yeah, and Farah's big thing is about that changing room and the group. It's the group that's been supportive, so it's not necessarily the physical side of turning up every Sunday. It's having so many women around her that are inspiring and supporting her, and yeah, she's a fantastic role model for anybody out there.
Wow, and it just shows why, even for you, football is your career and it's everything, and it again just shows why you love it so much and so passionate about it.
Absolutely, and as I say, the power of football, we really all need to believe in the power of sport and football. But for me, I just know it changes lives and it can save lives as well.
Oh, it totally does, Sam. Amazing work. Well, Hannig Skipper Ball-Coise, Camp Hellcats Colla and Unciana Deas Ghlaschu, and a Davila Fiket a Hen, Nura Hoshik Buyen J. Vorenich, agus Deni non-binary, a Cluicheadair Churigh. Von Urshin, Han Club Fast, agus Hayet the Farpish and a Ligan, Churigh agus Schachner, Shaw and Skiloch Gachgasin.
h-Alba barach ùire Leasachaidh some Comunn Ball-Coise and ban agus neomhínirí agus na blianaigh bit a galab. An an Davila sa fiche sa hún, chai skipper Camp Hellcats a chruachú, gus áte horst a Vorenich agus dúine non-binary and sports achga a chuig.
We're a grassroots football team for women and non-binary players in Glasgow. We started basically as a response to COVID. A few of us were kind of fed up, like a lot of people were, and we decided we would have some fun kind of fives on a Monday evening, and that then progressed into what Camp Hellcats is today. So it kind of got more serious when we started entering tournaments. And realised we would need a name and we might need a strip, and it's just kind of grown from there.
I just moved to the south side of Glasgow and I kind of wanted like a new hobby and to kind of make new friends, so I found them on Instagram and just kind of like fell in love with their logo, because it's really nicely designed, and just kind of like the vibe of the team. And I went along to a rounders they organised in summer, because one of the hot days, and just kind of like the team were so friendly and so nice, and it was just like a great way to get back into football.
It's definitely grown. Initially we probably had enough, sometimes we were playing 4-on-4, and I remember our early sevens tournaments we sometimes had 7 players and no subs, so it's definitely grown. The demand has definitely grown as well. We're struggling to meet that demand now.
Van Megan agus Denisha some Cummel ora le Ball-Coise Múrabad na Soige. Ach mar tór chluicheadair in ille, cha Boroughmuir club a Lorax and skiire in a Dìreach.
So I played football when I was younger, and mainly in a kind of male-dominated space. I played for a boys' team. I didn't find that very welcoming, and I kind of hung up my boots when I was 14. And then a friend got me into what is now the Hellcats, and my love for the game just was it was like there again straight away. And it's been amazing for me. I'm 32 and I've made such a new group of friends socially, confidence-wise. It's been really, really good. So as soon as I realised it was kind of going to where it's going now, I was really keen to get involved.
My dad always says I could kick a ball before I could run or walk, so yeah, I played when I was younger, and then probably primary school there just stopped being opportunities for like girls to really play football, and like boys in my school weren't really like welcoming to girls who like football as well, so I kind of just like forgot about it until I was in uni. Played a bit in uni, but I didn't really like how competitive it was, so I just kind of gave it up, and then found Hellcats and quite like that it's just relaxing, fun and an inclusive environment.
To an extent we're still facing some issues. I would be lying if I said that we weren't, but we are finding now that there is more space for women non-binary players to take part in football, and I'm really proud to be part of a team that's kind of making a pathway for that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me as well is like having people to talk to about football. Like I feel like I really missed that part of my life, like just like watching football with everyone, like talking about teams, like talking about all of that, going to the games together, and just like having that social environment where like you're all friends, you're playing, and like even times when we're losing games and stuff, like we're all just having fun and we're there for each other, which is really nice. And obviously when we win, it's a great feeling as well. So yeah, it's just such a nice wee environment to have, and I feel like I see everyone on the team more than I see my friends and family. So yeah, it's great.
Cha Camp Hellcats is stiùidio an hoideach son Comunn Ball-Coise sóisialta a dìas Ghlaschu cluich. Ach, han na cluicheadair in inis a cluich Ball-Coise fàilte seach go thuúnadal, a dìas ha dáchas an achcha cuma orra leis an túiseáide cúisin als de blianachin a harí hín.
So we play every week in a competitive fives league, and once a month in a competitive sevens league, both at beginner level, but we are hoping, tonight we've got a coach and things like that, we're hoping to be able to progress into a more intermediate level in the future. We're in the process of becoming more formalised kind of as we speak. That's happening in the next couple of weeks, and the idea would then be to progress the players that we've got in the club with a view of becoming at a more kind of intermediate level, looking at a way to engage our players in more competitive play, because there's a huge demand for us to play competitively and we can't meet that currently. So yeah, that would be the plan moving forward.
When Camp Hellcats started, like it was just like there was no other teams that were really playing for women and non-binary people, and then to think about it now, like there's so much competition, like there's so many, like we've got southside derbies with everyone, like it's really nice how much teams have grown and how many people are just really willing to play. And I think it really speaks to like if girls had more opportunities growing up, like how much further on like football would be for women and girls, and it just isn't where it should be. So it's just really great to have this and kind of revitalise everything that we've loved growing up.
Han na mian sóisialta achta cuideachd go mór le fás a club. It tar dó dhéanana cluicheadair an cíala dhéanú leis an skipe. Agus barach gain a-mach sa bheit.
Oh yeah, social media has played a huge part. We've gained a lot of strong feedback online. We've got a kind of engaged audience online, and it's allowing people to see opportunities that they wouldn't have before. And a lot of people come to us through social media. So we're really grateful for what that enables us to offer.
Even in terms of like coming out of COVID and stuff with your mental health, like I feel like this has helped me so much, and like I feel like really welcomed. I know I've got a routine coming to training on Mondays and Wednesdays as well, and like playing games, and it's just really nice to know that like everyone on the team's got your back and we're all like friends, we're all a family, and it's just like great to know that like we're all in this together, and stuff that's happened to us as a team, it happens to all of us as a team, and we always support each other, which is just so nice. Like I couldn't imagine this time last year having that, so it's really nice to be here and just like play with my friends every week.
Han cuiridh fás fan na Hellcats na pàirce mhór in a han club me dhéin. Agus ha Denisha agus Megan go mór san barach dúine aichcin san skipe san Townley teach.
Yeah, I would just say just do it. It's probably like one of the best decisions I've made, and I'm so happy I've done it. And just don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't be liking football or you shouldn't enjoy it, because football's for everyone. It's a sport we all love, so take part and enjoy it.
I think we're a strong representation of the community that we play in, and I'm really proud to pull on the shirt for every game that I play, and I'm proud to represent people that haven't always had a place in football, and with the Hellcats they always will now.
Sam, I could see you nodding along there. How much did you enjoy that?
I love it. Everything resonates so much. As I talk about women's recreational, football is just such a big thing for me, and it's not the only thing we do, but it's such a big thing, so I could resonate with so much that was getting said there.
That was a really brilliant, a really strong last quote from Megan. She said, "We're proud to represent people that haven't always had a place in football, and with the Hellcats they always will now." That's really special. It's such an inclusive team to just give anyone an opportunity to play.
I think that's it, and that's that messaging is so important there as well, and it's so important that people understand it will be a place for you regardless. And I think for a long time in the past, football's been seen as maybe male dominated, then team dominated and you have to be like playing competition, and it's not been as inclusive, but we've seen so many strides in the last few years, and really it's starting to become a place for all. And again, I go back to it's clubs like this that are creating those opportunities for people to play.
And it's a team of people that just enjoy playing football, isn't it?
That's it. You know, you're not, football's there to enjoy, and again, creating that environment and creating that culture that just lets people enjoy the game is what's most important there. And that comes down to the people. It's always down to the people. It looks like a great group to be part of. It looks welcoming and supportive, and quite clear the messaging is it's for anybody to come along and play. And
they've grown and done so much since they started a couple of years ago. You know what it takes for that. I mean, how much will they have had to put in to get to where they are now?
There's so much work, and I think as well, talked about volunteers earlier and how the importance of volunteers and what they do for the game, and I don't think sometimes when people are playing the game they understand how much work goes in behind the scenes. The kits don't just come themselves, the money for paying for facilities doesn't come for themselves. Building a culture, especially trying to create that culture of we're open for everyone, and that environment, that takes work, it doesn't just happen. And the amount of work that these girls are putting in there, and these guys are putting in there to create that with their coaches and everything that they do around there is so important.
We can also see the power of social media. I mean, we spoke about it just in the last chat about what's happened with social media since obviously your feature went out online. Camp Hellcats use social media too. How important is that in football and sport, especially nowadays in 2023, and getting more people involved?
Again, so important. Again, when I think back to when I first started in the job, there wasn't any representation in media at all. Twitter really wasn't a thing. Facebook had just kind of started, you know, these social media channels that were out there. But again, I think that's really impacted on the growth, because again, people can see who's playing now. They can it resonates with them. They can see the videos, they can see how welcoming it is. They've got direct access to people wanting to come in, and again, it's really, really important. And there's a lot of groups out there that do fantastic social media, and encourage more women to play.
And the thing is, teams like Camp Hellcats and so many others, they do so much, and it's great to see them start and evolve and see where they can even get to. Even if we look at some of the Scottish Women's Football competitive leagues, some of teams recently haven't had a great time and maybe have unfortunately folded. What can we do to ensure that doesn't happen across the board?
I think first and foremost we need to understand why. What is it that's creating this to happen? There's barriers. We've found there's barriers now for these teams to be created, and we talked about earlier, sort of cost of living's obviously a big thing, facilities is a big thing, travelling and that commitment might be a big thing for teams to be able to maintain that commitment into a league. What we probably need to do is create more teams that might reduce some of these barriers, like travelling. We need to support these teams to help them financially as well and support that side of it. But I also think as we grow the game, we'll have more people coming into the game, which might create more teams. And again, women's recreational, we've seen quite a few teams. FC Flip the Mindset we talked about started off just as a group of women wanting to play. They're now in the leagues. Glenrother Strollers did the same, Dunfermline are doing the same. So sometimes I think that we need to create that momentum of women coming back into the game or starting the game with no pressure, no commitment, go and enjoy it, and then hopefully we can start to get more into the leagues there as well.
Brilliant. There's so much to do, but there's so much happening. It's really wonderful to see. For you anyway, what is coming up next? What are you working on? I know there's a lot that you're working on, but in the kind of immediate future and plans thereafter.
Yeah, so the Scottish FA, we've got a big drive on at the moment with our Football for All strategy, so trying to push that out at the moment, trying to work with the clubs to create these opportunities as well. Talked about KDM as our new sponsorship programme. We've got our Spar Schools national finals next week as well, so that's quite a big one. Our UEFA Playmakers as well is starting into Block 4 now as well. Wow. So there's all these different opportunities that's just out there that we're starting to roll out for this year.
There's so much going on. I don't know how you have time to play yourself. That is amazing. But Sam, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been wonderful to hear what's happening and what a fantastic job you're doing for women's sport.
Thank you.
Wel, sin a hacin Gheibh yn noch, yn a chiachgain, fi tosgra spores h-Alba agus spores cuiridh na h-Alba Grace Sterling Colrooms yn stiùidio. Gyda nhw'r sin, jen cyn siach gyfel sif a lentyn BBC h-Alba ac els gwyn cael sif prògram nioff fistrachug sy'n bu cochiangoche rhi 3 siasgyd. Hi sy'n sif yn ahyrys.